Hello and welcome to Epic Card Game Lab. Today we have another deck profile, this time using the full constructed format as recent as the Uprising set. So let's check it out here. This deck is the closest thing I've made so far with all Uprising cards that is more of an aggro control deck. And before we get into the deck, I'll kind of go over what an aggro control deck does. Essentially, this is a deck that can change roles between being aggressive and being controlling, depending on what its opponent's doing and what cards it's drawing. And it has a number of cards that have multiple use in terms of applying pressure or controlling what your opponent's doing. It's also able to make a number of tempo plays, as you'll see with the deck. It has a few different cards that are able to do that. And the deck also is very aggressive and very resilient to some of the disruption that's out there. So without anything further, we'll go over the deck. Has 3 Kong, 3 Raging T-Rex, 3 Mythic Monster, 3 Triceratops, 3 Surprise Attack, 3 Savage Uprising, 3 Hurricane, 3 Flame Strike, 3 Fires of Rebellion, 2 Lurking Giants, 1 Lightning Storm. For our zero-cost wild cards, we have 3 Cape Troll, 3 Fire Shaman, 3 Fireball, 3 Wolf Spike, 3 Flame Spike. And we have a small Sage Splash with 3 Sea Titan, 3 Erase, 2 Frost Giants, 3 Vanishing, 1 Amnesia. Now, you'll notice this deck doesn't play some very staple cards that it could be playing in terms of some of the better burn cards, some of the champions, the loyalty to. We don't play those, and then we also don't play cards like Thought Plucker and Muse. But as you look at the deck list and start to think about what other people might be reacting to based off of what other decks and cards people are playing, things start to make a little sense. Okay, so we don't play, you'll notice, anything, especially, well, we have a few zero champions, but we don't have any gold champions that can be destroyed by a number of cards. For instance, the cards that we play ourselves, Hurricane and Savage Uprising, they do not actually kill any of our, well, the Hurricane will, some of our zeros, but the Savage Uprising won't hit any of our champions. I mean, they will damage some of them, but unless their opponent has a few burns to finish them off, then they're not going to be dying to our own mass board wipes that we can play on either player's turn. So it's able to just kind of clear the board and keep the pressure up by keeping its champions out. It's also not playing its own Thought Pluckers or Muses, and that's because some people play answers to it, and this deck has plenty, as you notice, answers to the Thought Plucker and Muse. And so it's able to counter them and not be disrupted by many of the removals that people would be playing to be able to counter that. If someone else has their own Fireball or Wolf's Bite, it's not going to really take out any of our champions. Sure, they might be able to take out some of our zero-cost champions, but they're not going to get any tempo or value off of us by getting any of our better cards. So let's kind of take a look. We got Kong. He's just a great card. He's a good tempo play, card advantage, 14 defense, so he's huge. Basically, none of these also get hit by Drain Essence, which is a very common card for people to play. So Raging T-Rex, same thing, 10 defense, doesn't die to anything that deals 9 damage. Mythic Monster and Triceratops, both very huge, both just draw a card. So that's a good chunk of champions that we have to play on our turn. And we also have, among that, we have Sea Titan, the 3, and then we have the 2 Frost Giants. So we have to play all of those on our turn. So this is the reason I made sure to play 3 Surprise Attack, because Surprise Attack is just a good card. It's good to be able to play Kong or Frost Giant on their turn. But also you can just be able to utilize the fact that you have so many of those and make one of them into an ambush threat, essentially. We have the board wipes, and I love these board wipes because they have modes. I mean, you can do 9 to everything on their turn or your turn, but you can also either draw custom cards. And one of them is draw. Instead of you drawing 2, you just draw 1, but you still in a way draw 2, but one of them is just a free burns spell for 5 to the player. So that's already 5 burn to the face. Your big monsters are going to be hitting for a bunch, and you have plenty of cards to finish them off. In addition to the Savage Uprising, Flame Strike, Fires of Rebellion, good removal too. 7 to them, or 7 to their champion, and you also draw a card. Just a couple Lurking Giants. I could have played 3 Lurking Giants, but I wanted to fit in 1 Lightning Storm because I really like 1 Lightning Storm. I never really want to draw 2 Lightning Storms in Constructed, but drawing 1 Lightning Storm is great. Cave Troll, I'm a big fan of Cave Troll in a heavy wild deck. He's just good value. He's going to get in there. He's going to be able to block. He's going to just come back over and over again based on the number of wild cards we have in here. Same with Fire Shaman. You're just going to get so many triggers with him, and he just plays well with your other burn. You have so much burn in this deck. You're just able to chain it together to piece, 3 damage from a Fireball plus 3 damage from a Fire Shaman because you played your Mythic Monster, plus a couple damage from a Wolf's Bite, which can recycle and be free essentially, plus a couple damage from a Flame Strike. You can just start to pick off all sorts of little champions and also, chain them together to take out some bigger champions. And then not to mention the fact that if you're playing some sort of mirror match or something, those are going to be critical. If you're dealing 9 to everything and they have, an 11, 10, 11, 13 defense champion out, just a couple extra points of damage here and there is going to be amazing. So we play, a lot of people play Sea Titan, I don't think Sea Titan needs a whole lot of explaining, but, why do we play Frost Titan instead of, more powerful cards? Obviously, I said I don't want to play Thought Plugger, but, why not Ancient Chant or something? Well, the name of this deck is basically you're always going to win to be applying pressure. You already have plenty of cards that you're able to draw because a bunch of your champions come in and draw cards. You have a few different of your events that can draw 2 instead. We also have Erase, which is another way to draw cards. So I really like Frost Giant. Maybe you want to play more Frost Giant, I don't know, but just the fact to be able to get all of their blockers just out of the way and then get in there. And then something that can be great with Frost Giant as a combo is the card that we're playing, because you slam Frost Giant, tap everything, and then you have Vanishing in hand. So if they do have an ambush champion to put out, then you just are able to return it to their hand at no cost. This is such a great tempo play. We play this over a Hasty Retreat because we're an aggressive deck. We're trying to close the game out and win quickly. We're not trying to be defensive and not lose. We're basically always being proactive in this deck. So the 3 Erase, and then just the 1 Amnesia because, I like having 1 Amnesia, but to be honest, there also weren't just a whole lot of other good effects out there. Maybe I could have played a Hasty Retreat. So I don't know. I'm hoping to not have to be too defensive anyway, and they're probably honestly not swinging into us a whole lot unless it has something like Airborne, because we actually don't have a lot of Airborne. So their Airborne champions are going to come in, but we're kind of okay with that because, if they're hitting us with Airborne and then we're hitting them with our giant monsters, we're going to win that race because the way the damage is going to come down. Most of the Airborne champions are much weaker than our giant monsters that we have. So this deck is able to be resilient to burn because their burn isn't able to kill hardly any of your champions. If you do play a board wipe, sure, they could play use their gold to take out your Raging T-Rex or something, but you already drew your 2 cards. So in the end, you'll kind of grind them out. So the deck can grind them out. It's got lots and lots of 2-for-1s. It has lots of very powerful champions. It has lots of tempo plays. It's always able to be aggressive. You're never going to be short on being able to apply pressure with this deck. So it's definitely a deck I recommend if you like being proactive and you like trying to close the game out, because with all that burn, you definitely are able to do it. So until next time, thanks for watching.